What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Mets Weekly. Who gives a shit about all of the rest of the information I should give to you? The Mets have landed superstar outfielder Juan Soto to a record-setting 15-year, $765 million contract, the richest contract in the history of American sports. Wow. I mean, I don't even know what to say anymore. There is such a rush. There is so much stress that it was just a relief. I am at a loss for words. I'm going to move it over to one of my co-hosts on the screen here. Frank, I will go to you. Oh, this is nuts. This is nuts.
They did it. I mean, they did it, and we talked about it, I mean, all week, all off season. Juan Soto, where's he going? And I had said from the beginning, the Mets are going to have the highest offer, and then it's up to him to accept it. They had the highest offer, and he accepted. Now, is it more than what I would have thought? Yes. I didn't think he'd get $65 million more than Ohtani, but we had said this in a previous stream earlier in the week, but once you get past $700 million, it's like at that point, what's the difference between 750 and 765? It's like you're already in a crazy stratosphere. So if you're up there, you might as well finish the deal. I mean, once you're in that deep, you got to pull it off and get it done. And they did. So, obviously a lot of credit to Steve Cohen just for being very aggressive and just sticking with it. And, just I think kind of shows that the relationship with Scott Boras is obviously much more improved than it was with the Wilpons. It just feels like you're not seeing this kind of just sneaking behind the Mets and finishing off these deals when it comes to Boras. It feels like the Mets always have the last say because it all comes down to top dollar. And they know that they could get the most from Steve Cohen. So they keep saying the last minute, Steve, are you going to beat this offer? And he keeps saying yes. And then the Yankees want to try to do something creative with 16 years for $760. Didn't want it. So, I mean, it's really exciting. I mean, it's a huge, huge day in Mets history. And you hope that we want that piece of hardware. And you hope that you can go back to this day as the reason how they got it.
Well, we obviously have a opt-out after year 5, so, he's only here for 5 years, guaranteed. You never know. I mean, there is not really that much money that he can leave on the table, once he gets through those first 5 years. Not really much. Andrew, I'll go to you. What else can you say anymore? I mean, this is insane. This is nuts. I mean, we are... I don't think it's real. I don't really think it's real, to be honest. It's not real.
Well, again, this is the second, now the biggest signing we've done streaming. We did one that we thought was going to be a pretty big contract. Yeah, we don't talk about that one. That can go in the archives. But not finishing second. Being that finally someone took Steve Cohen's money. It wasn't about, I want to go play with Shohei Ohtani. Your Met nice offer. I'm going to go play with the Asian guy. No. He took the money and ran. And the fact that he left $5 million to... But wait, he wants to be a Yankee. You got to have the legacy of playing in pinstripes. Juan Soto don't give a flying donkey dick about being a New York Yankee legend. He left your ass for $5 million. He left your ass for a 5 for 5. And the fact that here we go. You have your friend, as great as Francisco Lindor is, and he'll be the captain. It's his team. Prospectively, you add one of the best pure hitters. Yes, I don't care. I don't want to hear a damn thing about defense. You add aura, you add swag, and you add the best bat in baseball. You know what? We're all popping bottles. You're gonna add, I don't care. Well, who's hitting behind them? We got a whole rest of the offseason to figure that out. Hey, Tub, you want to come back and go win a ring, or are you going to go leave for $5 million to go play for the Yankees? That would be the funniest thing ever, but besides the point, the fact that now there are 2 pillars of this organization, with 2 pillars on top of the organization, 2 pillars on the field. We have 4 pillars that can build this team to the future. Again, the hardware is going to be that we always want it. It's no guarantee. You got to beat that team out in LA just to even get to it. But the fact that you had to go get this done, and the fact that, again, someone finally said, you know what, Steve Cohen? You got all that damn money. I'll gladly take it. Who knows what happens, but you got, again, you're on the clock now. 5 years to win a ring. Cohen, this is now the time you say, I'd like to win a championship in 3 to 5 years. Now the window is actually open.
Yeah, I mean, it is so surreal that the Mets, got to such a one number, because I can tell you one thing. We did not expect this to go as high as it did because, of course, Shohei Ohtani being the player that he is, we know that he pitches. Did you know he pitches? He's incredible, by the way. He's also 3 batters away from our stream. Anyways, but when it comes to Shohei Ohtani, he gets $700 million. Obviously, deferred payments, crazy stuff like that with an insane contract going to the Dodgers. And, we did not expect a guy like Juan Soto to get more than him or, surpass him in any way whatsoever. But, of course, when you have Scott Boras as your agent, he's going to run you dry for every single possible penny. Again, I will say forever, it felt like a leverage horse race for a long time for me until that notification dropped. John Heyman saying that we got Juan Soto for 15 years, $765 million, which is really, really crazy to think because, that is pretty much, that's more than the total value that Lindor got, which is more than double. That's insane. That's insane to think about because everybody talks about the 3-4-1 guy. And it's really just nuts to think about the fact that the Mets went a step further, and I was definitely down in the dumps all day. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't feeling great about it. But the Mets went sneak attack. My pessimism was able to, fully come to fruition, and I was able to jinx everything and be the great jinx. And we got Juan Soto. We landed him. Caution, high waves ahead. Coming in with the 10 buckaroos for for a donation. I'm sorry. I feel like the room is spinning, to be honest. I really do feel like it is because I've definitely been well invested in this. We've gone live many times for Soto Watch of all the updates and everything. To be honest, I thought we would have to go live earlier today because of all the information that was coming out today. But then I was like, you know what? The next time that it happens and he actually signs, we're going to have to go live. That's the next time because, again, a lot of it is more of just pure speculation, and they got the job done. And, it was pretty much my prediction exactly correct. I said late at night on Sunday night, the Mets were going to get a decision from Juan Soto, and they got him. And to be honest, I definitely saw it coming.
Listen,
Anyway.
I still feel that you saw finally answer the value of what Steve Cohen's bank account means. I think I saw a tweet today, but we knew that coming in when Steve Cohen first bought the team that he had the most money. But between all the owners, he had the most. And what's crazy is that a few years later, he has even more money now overall in his net worth than he did when he bought the team. So,
Yep.
He was the richest, and he's even more rich now. So, as far as, when you talk about, how could you pay $765 million? Listen, when you got $22 billion, all of a sudden, $765 million, that feels like $70, you know what I mean? It's not the same thing. So, it's hard for, most of us to relate to. But, when it comes to that, Steve Cohen's all right, no problem. But once again, it also shows that when they highlight a guy, when they circle a guy that they want, they will do what it takes to get him. Because when you see them sign Frankie Montas and you see them sign Clay Holmes, and you're like, they're not going to give out these big contracts to guys in their 40s, and they're not going to do all these crazy things, then all of a sudden they say, okay, watch this. So again, they do a really good job of establishing who they want to give the big money to and do it, and then they don't just do it for everybody. They have a select few guys that they're willing to pay the top dollar for, and they're just much more smart in how they approach it. It's not, because I'm rich, I'm just going to buy everybody. It's they still try to have a little bit more of a strategic approach.
Yeah, we've talked about the pillars of, Steve Cohen coming in. Obviously, Steve Cohen was the first pillar to come through in, 2021. David Stearns, he gets his guy. He's been on his radar We know Francisco Lindor coming in here in the first year. He was one of the pillars. A lot of people thought that Buck Showalter was one of the pillars. Maybe if he was 20 years younger, maybe. But no, he's pushing 80s. But when it comes to how this lined up, Juan Soto, we've talked about it many times. Specifically on the Starling Marte contract, what was it, 4-year deal, of how that type of thing lined up, and like with all this money coming off the books, the way that it did, and you spend that money in such a huge way, which it is overall just AAV, which I'm pretty sure it's going to be just like this, considering we saw that there is no deferred money for this one. But when it comes to this deal, it is $51 million even per year. So it's not even just $50 million a year, it is $51 million a year. So that is just insane. We knew that it was going to be around the 14 to 15 year contract, mainly because Juan Soto being 26 years old. But this is just, it's unreal. It's relieving, to be honest, after just seeing the Mets just kind of keep a lot of things under wraps. And when we were behind the, if we're locked out of the doors here, and the Mets don't like things getting leaked, which is great as compared to what was happening with the old management. But it definitely can be a little bit nerve-wracking because they are really secretive in what they are going to be doing. And I'm glad that they do it behind closed doors for the sake of how business should be ran. But for the fans, we just don't know what direction they were going in. We kind of just have to do it based off of the impressions of what these guys like, if they have an attachment to David Stearns, if they have, an attachment to, what Steve Cohen has been eyeing or whatever. I do believe that, for a while he's been eyeing Juan Soto for multiple years now. I feel like it's been a long time coming, and he's been ready to pounce. He's been very, very patient. And, it's all up to him. And we talked about this before. This is all Cohen. This is all Steve Cohen in this regard. Because, yes, David Stearns, I know we always have we give him the hilarious we give the hilarious nickname of Dumpster Dave, and how he's bringing in all of these, bargain stuff, and he doesn't spend big, and he's from Milwaukee. Milwaukee had the low payroll. If they didn't get Juan Soto, or if they ended up getting Juan Soto, it had nothing to do with David Stearns. David Stearns probably is just, chilling in his bed right now. He's a family man. He's got, he's got a wife and some kids, and, he's probably chilling. He's letting Steve Cohen take this one over, and he should be taking it over because it has to do with, like we said, what Andrew just said, money. It all came down to money. And to be honest, I said this before the stream started, to you guys. I don't know if Frank was here for it, but I said, they're going to ask him what attracted him to the Mets. To be honest, I would be fine if he was just honest and said, the money. That's it. Because personally, yes, we did have those stories come out. It was like, oh, well, Judge is a little bit more intriguing to bat behind him. They don't have Alonso anymore at this current moment. He's not a Met at this current moment. You never know, because I fingers crossed, let's get our guy. But when it comes to, the lineup protection, there was definitely some off-selling points for the Mets as a team, aside from Steve Cohen's money, because we all knew that he could break the bank for a player like this. But when you look at this Mets lineup, it's pretty much Lindor, Soto. You have Vientos, who you hope does not have a sophomore slump, continues to sustain in that way. The power protection of Jose Siri definitely helps. But, right now, there's still a lot of holes on this team at this current moment. So for him to, trust Steve Cohen in that regard, and that was definitely a selling point. I mean, this is great to see it. And like, Andrew said, braggingly so, $5 million was the difference between him and the Yankees, and then also a year. So it was 5 by 5 if you're a hockey fan. But anyways, so yes, and also yes, Mark Feinstein said that it's a $75 million signing bonus for Juan Soto, and of course an opt out after the 5th year. So
Yeah, so a couple
Anyways.
more points to add on the contract. So
Go
that's
ahead.
the only opt out in the contract. So it's not like, there's opt out after 5 and then after 8. So it's like after that 2029 season, if he doesn't opt out, I mean, he's locked in for the other, was it like 10 more years? So that's going to be a very pivotal year when we get there. But, it's just the other thing of the escalators that could reach the 800 million mark. So, now that you have this $75 million signing bonus, maybe that offsets it a little bit. But the way I look at it is that if he does reach those thresholds that makes the contract 800 million, well, that's a good thing. I mean, that means he played really good for you. And if that's the case, and you make these additional moves that, as we talked about before, still needs to be made. Like Juan Soto was the big domino, but now you still have to work on the rotation, a little more bullpen, and a little bit more on the lineup. But you got the big one to have. So now that you have that, you surround him with the right pieces. If he does well and reaches those marks, then you have a pretty good chance at getting far. I mean, like we said, the team got here without him. So they're in a really good spot. I mean, we talked so much about how they got to the NLCS this past season. How do you get past that? How do you try to reach that next step? How do you continue to stay in the playoffs? Is this a fluke? Oh, the Mets just got to the playoffs and now they're not going to do it again. Well, this greatly increases your chances of repeating success and getting back into the playoffs. Because like we talked about, that sustained winning, you build that core. So far, you have Lindor and Soto leading the way. You have some other nice guys locked in. So this was obviously the really big move that had to get done. And now there's still more work to do.
I mean, obviously, again, this is not really, this is not it. There still are pieces on this roster that definitely need to, be irreversible, and they need to find ways to do it. We did see some other news, of course, of them. It seems like they're unwilling to move Jeff McNeil. What else is new? Because he can play 7 positions and juggle chainsaws with his ass cheeks. But when it comes to Starling Marte, we don't know what the deal is going to be with him. Right now, he's kind of slid over to the DH spot, which has kind of been more of my seeking fear. But one thing I will say, it's very, very great to see something such as this just pop up on my screen as someone who likes fan graphs of seeing Juan Soto batting second on our depth chart. So one thing I will say, it has been secured. It is real life. And the Mets have signed Juan Soto to a massive contract, and he is a Met. You have Lindor and Soto at the top of that lineup now.
Yeah.
And hopefully for years and years to come.
One of the things I wonder is if the Yankees offer had any deferrals in it, because I feel like that might be a big thing here where, because just the way I see it is that we've seen, again, just so many guys take deferrals. And I think even as a player, if you say that a priority of mine is to win, I feel like you would want the deferrals because that allows your team to supplement you with more talent. So I feel like for Soto to just be like, no, I want the money up front. Like, I wonder if maybe that was a deciding factor. He said, I don't want the money later on. I want it now. I don't know. I mean, that's just a speculation. We don't know yet if the Yankees offer had deferrals, didn't have deferrals, because, like we had seen some reporters say that if all things being equal, maybe he leans Yankees. And again, $5 million to you and I seems like a lot. But to some of these other guys, the $5 million is not all that much. And yeah. I wonder also the fact that he had another year under the Yankee offer, which I thought was very fascinating because then you're paying him at age 41 or so to still play baseball, which is something that most teams try to avoid, and you should try to avoid because the player's not going to be anywhere near the same. So I feel like there may has to be something else in this contract. I don't know if it's the opt-out. I mean, I do wonder what else was different between these two deals that also made him pick the Mets, because I don't think it's as simple as, it's just the $5 million, because like we said with the Mets being so invested, I feel like from the Yankees perspective, if you see that the difference is $5 million, you would also offer the $5 million. You already offered $760. So I feel like there needs to be something else. So hopefully we get those other details, because I feel like there has to be a little bit more that was a deciding factor to switch teams.
To be honest, maybe they just didn't give him the opt-out whatsoever. Like they didn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There has to be something. Was the deferrals, the opt-out? It can't just be the $5 million. I don't know if maybe
so
the
for those
Yankees
of you who want to know what the
bonuses
Yankees,
that could have it reach the 800 million. Maybe that wasn't. Maybe there weren't as many bonuses in there. I don't know. There has to be something else that kind of separated these offers apart.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see some of the information as it continues to get out. Those are the known details that we have on the bottom of the screen. Another thing, for those of you who missed it, $75 million signing bonus for Juan Soto. 15 years, $765 million in total value. Now, for those of you asking, did the Mets, the Yankees offered one more year and $5 million less. Was that correct, Andrew? Did I get that correctly?
Yep.
Is that it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
16 at
basically,
750. Yeah.
Yeah. So total value, it looked like he wanted to beat it in AAV and in total value, and he wasn't going to be able to do that because what is it? 760 over 16. That would have been
like 47 or
47.5.
Was 40 47 point. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
So
took the
that
AAV
definitely
and the higher number.
Yeah. So he definitely was able to do it because again, what is Shohei's what is it, the luxury tax cap it? Because obviously it's 70 million. I think it's like 44 million the luxury tax or something like that. 47 million. Yeah. So again, I think that it makes pretty much sense, but home is greedy. He better be worth all that money. Well, boy, do I hope so. Let's just say that. So Andy Martino just tweeted out.
I've said this before. I mean, Juan Soto is one of the best players in baseball. There's no denying that. But like I've always feel like no one's ever going to be worth over $700 million. I mean, there's no player like ever that's technically worth that. But the way I see it, and this is me personally, I'm speaking for myself, a team that has not won the World Series since 1986, if he is a big factor in us winning a World Series, it's not my money, so I don't care. I'm just glad that we finally broke the drought. Because you know what? There's other organizations that have long time that never win the championship, and it's because they don't spend the money to get the talent. So, do you want to be a team that, we didn't spend a lot of money, but we have nothing to show for it? So I feel like if it leads to a championship, which I hope it does, then the contract becomes worth it. And I think we said the same thing with Lindor at the time, because at the time we were like, $341 million is a lot. But now that when you say, because that's the thing, when you look at what Lindor does as an all-around player, is Juan Soto double the player Francisco Lindor is? No. But I just think that, I think the Dodgers ruined everything with Ohtani getting $700 million, just being everyone wants to top the next person. Lindor wants to top Mookie. Now Ohtani wants to top. Now Soto wants to top Ohtani. Everyone's just trying to beat the other person, set the record. So I feel like because the Dodgers did something crazy, now they just messed up the market for all the stars.
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes to Shohei Ohtani, that's a one-of-a-kind player. But when it comes to the Boris tax, we all know the Boris tax of where you're paying, I don't know, like 15% more of what the player actually is worth. I mean, that's literally just how Scott Boras is. And I've talked about this before. He just never makes me feel secure in any way. And I'm sure he'll make me sweat out things for Pete Alonso in that regard. But we'll see what happens with that. But I'm glad that this hurdle has been passed through here. And we can have the rest of the winter meetings after and moving on.
New contract detail just came out.
Okay.
So it says with the opt-out, Soto could opt out after the 5th year or receive a $4 million raise per season from 51 million to 55 for the remainder of the contract. That's from ESPN.
Yeah, the horror. Yeah.
Wow. They are not messing around.
All right, Steve.
He said,
All
"Here's the Brinks truck.
All right, Steve.
You have it."
He's like, if you leave, you're losing this amount. That's probably where the $800 million comes from. He goes, if you leave, you lose $50 million.
Yeah.
That's a good tactic.
Yeah, so that's, what is it? It's, okay, so that would be, you're leaving so it's $51 million a year. It would make it $55 million.
So $40 million, right?
Yeah, $40 million. 10 years left. Yeah. It's $40 million.
So $40 million. Wow.
He just said,
that is insane.
Money doesn't. Oh, God.
Wow. That
think
is
he,
nuts.
Yeah, someone's asking when I give a blank check. I think he did.
I think
that's what that is.
I think he probably did, yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
yeah. Remember the report, the Red Sox
basically-
name your price?
Yeah.
What happened to that?
What happened to that?
I mean,
So basically, he slapped $800 million on the
Pretty
table.
much. He whipped his deal. Pretty much.
Which is what you said,
Yeah.
Carson. Like you were like, just give him 800 at this point.
Just do it. Just end
basically.
it. Just end it. I mean,
I get, yes. The fact that we're getting close to $1 billion player is getting kind of insane. I mean, again, I'm not gonna go Mako and Karen, but it's like $800 million for one guy.
I don't think anybody touches this ever. Like, it's never going to happen ever.
I mean, Luke Ritter is coming up though, so I mean, Luke Ritter might have a shot.
Yeah, maybe not in our lifetime.
Luke Ritter is older than Juan Soto. Okay, it ain't happening, buddy. Awesome. We need some pitching. Listen, I think that they do go after one more pitching, one more pitching, one more starter. I think they get one more starter, and then they kind of spread it out. But I don't think they go two.
Oh God, what's Frank
So
got?
For those of you,
a previous stream we had talked about, I mentioned that if they get Soto, the Drew Gilbert trade becomes more likely. So I feel like now that you have Soto secured, now you could put Gilbert in some kind of package to acquire a starting pitcher, along with maybe like we said, Jet Williams or Brett Beatty, and that's a good starting point. You have to add some other pieces in there, but you can get yourself a pretty good pitcher. I would hope. Maybe the Seattle guy we talked about. There's guys available on good contracts.
They don't need
compared
outfielders,
to what Corbin Burns is going to get, and I wonder what Max Fried's number is going to end up like. I mean, I'm curious to see how that.
What the
plays out.
Yankees are going to give him 200.
personally, I don't think they're going to shop Gilbert in that regard, because I don't think there's much like security when you're looking at Tyrone Taylor and Jose Siri. Like, those are good players in the margins, but if you can get that covered by Drew Gilbert and he pans out, I think they're going to try at least.
You just acquire Luis Robert with Crochet, but that's just me.
Yeah, well, if that happens, then yeah, he's gone. But I mean, you never know what they have up their sleeve.
One of the points I mentioned is that we talked about Gilbert. Maybe his best position is the corner. He's not really the greatest center fielder. And we know from David Stern's standpoint, he loves a center fielder. He doesn't want a corner outfielder.
I know.
He wants a true center fielder. So I feel like when we talk about the Stern's vision, and I mean, the one downside to Soto, that defense is pretty brutal in right field. I mean, they were showing it on LB Network.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, he doesn't want to hit into a wall. He doesn't want to dive. He wants to preserve. And maybe now that he got his contract, maybe he'll be willing to hit into a wall or make a diving play and not risk injury. But overall, you got some brutal defense in right field with a declining Brandon Nimmo in left field. You need a quality defensive center fielder. So if Drew Gilbert's not exactly that guy, then you have to get the guy. So I feel like that's another thing to consider. Because now that you have Soto and you have Nimmo for a long time too, you have to build around what you already have. You have to complement what you already have. If you had a main defense in the corners, maybe you can get away with it. But I think right now, and they already got Siri, but long term, you need a really good defensive center fielder. Which, if they want to keep doing these 1 year, 2 years, year after year, they can. But like I've said with the rotation, I don't love that approach of just constantly revolving.
I think they'll give Gilbert a chance in center field eventually if he ends up still being on the team by spring training. You never know. But when it comes to like up the middle in center field, I mean, more of the center field concern, I'd say, and the same thing goes for like Jet Williams or even like Acuna in that matter. I mean, the health of Drew Gilbert has definitely been a problem for the last few years. And even though we know that he's a young player and he plays with his hair on fire, it could be a little bit concerning if he is out there in center field. It's not really just the size of him, just like the injury history of him in regards to that. I still think that they're going to give him a chance because I don't think Jose Siri and Tyrone Taylor are gonna like lock that down in that regard. Like, I feel like they're two cheap options under team control that could maybe cover anything that could possibly be lacking with a player like Drew Gilbert. Also, Drew Gilbert has to get healthy as well too. So we'll see what happens when that whole thing gets figured out. But yeah, I wouldn't try to move that much of the surplus just because, we have this guy here forever. But, I mean, because right now I do think that, Sturt still wants to see some of these young guys play. But, we'll see what happens. You never know. It's not even the end of December. It's not even 2025 yet. And this is going to be, we are making a team for the 2025 Mets. So,
yeah. And
Andrew?
I do like, go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah. What'd you say?
Frank,
I think we're
you're
on a
different.
delay here, so it's a little bit.
No, I was going to
shifty.
let Andrew go
Yeah.
because I had more to say. So let Andrew go.
Yeah,
I was
Andrew,
just
go ahead.
saying it's not even Christmas yet, and we're already planning the roster. It's not even Christmas yet. So what other Christmas gifts could be under the table? Who knows?
Yeah.
Alright,
What I
Frank,
like is that this move is done right before the winter meetings are like really underway.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, we got that out the way. Now we can actually get to work here and do some of the other things that need to get done. This didn't drag out and didn't let too many guys get off the board. So a lot of the targets that we had in mind, they're still available for the most part. So I like that now that this is out the way, now you could get to work and fill out those other things that need to get done.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know what to say, to be honest. Because, okay, looking at this deal in Juan Soto terms, he's not taking that opt-out. There's no way. There is no way in hell. Like-
And that's what I was saying too, is that because when he opts out, he's age 31. So who's going to offer
Yeah.
more money, more than $55 million at age 31?
Oh, I can
don't
think
see
of a
that
few
happening.
stupid teams, but
I don't. Number one, they can't afford it, and number two, they just wouldn't do it. So I don't see it, to be honest. Especially if it goes well here. Like if he's playing well, the team's playing well. Why would he want to opt out? It's such a good deal. I would find it hard to get a better deal than that. You'd be
All right,
hard pressed.
hopefully
They already made it a better deal by including that
Yeah,
that clause,
that's insane.
which is something I had not
I
heard
did
of
not
before.
expect that.
I had not heard of that one.
I have never seen that before, and I'll tell you
So
right
I don't.
now,
That
he
would.
can,
There's no way
he can
that was in the
opt
Yankees
into more
contract.
money. That's nuts.
Yeah,
for 10
there's
years.
no way. That's the difference. So it's not $5 million. It was $40 million, $45 million actually. That was the difference in the
So
Yankees
he can
and
opt
Mets contract.
he can opt into 10 years, $550 million, just
Pretty much.
after the 5th year, after already being here for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no, I'm sorry, there is no way. Like if he does end up declining that, I don't know. But again, hey, that's 2029's problem. Who gives a
Yeah.
shit? That's not
I'll
even
be
a real
dead by
year,
then.
right?
Yeah, I'll be
Yeah,
dead.
we'll all be dead. But yeah, it'll be the end of the world by then. Ricardo coming in saying, I think Gilbert is going to end up being the best out of all of our prospects. He plays similar to Corbin Carroll. He's just as healthy as Corbin Carroll, I can tell you that. But I mean, Andrew,
what?
you're more of the Corbin Carroll guy. You probably can give your
Well,
opinion on that.
I'm not gonna say it, but I wanted to say, what a great week for New York sports. Igor Shesterkin locked up. Rangers keep their guy. The Mets overpay and get their guy. Great. What we got? Great extensions and great contracts in New York. Gotta love it. Just a good time to be alive. Jacob Trouba's gone. Just a great week. Keep it going. Just a great week for New York sports.
You ruin everything. I hope you know that. You ruin everything. That's good. I'm gonna actually carve that on your gravestone. You just ruin everything. Okay, the Islanders are on fire. Are they?
I have
really
no
been
idea.
Paying attention.
They're boring.
Anyways. Yeah, so is the other New York team. Anyways, but as for Juan Soto, I need to see the reaction, of course, from. Has Lindor said anything yet?
No,
I
but
haven't seen anything.
I mean, we did see an Antonio Brown-esque reaction to Soto signing the deal. I don't know if we saw that in the hot tub. That was a video
Yes.
on his Instagram. He posted on his Instagram. Very Antonio Brown-esque, which was like, okay, probably not the greatest look, but sure.
Okay.
Which shows you once again that like this was a Scott Boras and Steve Cohen conversation. That Juan Soto was just in the pool, letting him in,
Exactly. You go
go
do
for
that.
it. I'm just gonna hang out in the pool. Like you guys got this.
Oh, God, it's just still weird.
Wow. Oh yeah, I see it. Okay.
Yeah, it's like so Antonio Brown vibes. It's like, well, that-
Not really.
I mean, he didn't run. He didn't run out of the.
He
Okay,
FaceTimed
hey.
Donovan Mitchell from
And then he
As
fixed
someone
it,
who
yeah.
knows, as someone who team employed Antonio Brown for a second, different things. Let's just say that. Different, very different.
Just
But
just
yeah,
a
so
smidge.
so basically the contract, if he opts in, could be worth over $805 million. Holy
That'll get it done.
wow. Well, what are my honest feelings on them signing Alonso? Again, I've said this over and over and over again. I'm fine with him. I'm fine without him. I mean, I'm fine with that in that regard. I do think that it makes a little bit more sense to bring him back now in regards to, Juan Soto, this guy being
That
here.
guy.
But, if he I guess, Pete, if he wants to play in if he wants to play in Soto and Lindor's shadow,
Exactly. Or he can go play with Aaron Judge. See how many big numbers he puts in that lineup.
Let me just flash us back to 2019 in January 24th. Jeff Wilpon on the Mets not pursuing Harper or Machado. I don't know how many teams have two $30 million players, as he is referring to Cespedes. Oh, how long, how far, how much of a journey it has been. Wow. How many 30 million plus players do we have on our payroll right now? Is it two now?
Well, we had it before with Verlander and Scherzer.
With a bunch of 20
we
pluses,
actually had
yeah.
three.
With a bunch of like.
Yeah. Wow. We have a lot of 20 plus. We have quite a few 20 plus.
Yes, with Nimmo and Marte. But I mean, how many do the Dodgers? Well, the Dodgers technically don't have because of deferrals, but they're paying a lot.
Yeah, they
of
don't
money
have
for
real
teams.
contracts.
To be honest, I don't think the Dodgers even spend any money, to be honest. It's all just fake phantom crazy shit. Wow.
And they gave Michael $17 million. Unreal. Wow.
Okay.
He had to throw that in.
That's it.
You know what?
That's
That's just rude. All right. Well, listen, he set the market for Soto today. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I feel like that should have been a sign right there. That, like, the Dodgers are out of this. Like that should have been like a really like. indicator
Apparently, they're
that,
still
like,
in for
they dropped
Teoscar.
out. Which is fine. I mean, Teoscar wasn't gonna get $800 million. Like,
Oh God! Well, especially not the money laundering way. They're gonna have to actually give him $800 million, not this. Well, if he did,
yeah, he'll get multiple different deferral payments. Like, how are they gonna pull that one off? Because there is deferred money.
Nuts. That's insane. All right.
so Kyle Tucker next
Well-
year.
No thanks. So the Mets lineup gets a left-handed bat. That's good. That checks the box. The Mets lineup gets another star. That checks a box. The Mets lineup gets more aura. Checks a box. The Mets lineup pushes Starling Marte more out of the equation. Checks a box. I think we may have overpaid. It ain't my
What
money.
makes you say that?
It ain't my money, man.
I love the
It
name
ain't
and
my
picture,
money.
though. Shout Shy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's a guy.
that contract is international soccer money. Yeah. Okay.
That's
Soccer
what I'm
players
saying.
get paid a
Yeah,
lot.
that's
That they do. They
to
really
play a
do.
fake sport's crazy.
I'm pretty sure the Red Bulls were in the MLS Cup yesterday, and they lost to LA.
Who
So it's
cares?
LA over New
Who
York
cares?
once again. But I mean, this is just nuts. So where do we go from here? What's next?
Well, I mean, I think also trying to figure out who the DH is going to be. Like, to me, I don't think it could be Starling Marte. I just, your DH needs to hit a home run. So I don't know if they want to do like a platoon and bring back.
Yeah,
Whitmer.
and
I
with
just
Jeff
don't see it,
McNeil
like,
still on this fucking team.
Yeah, so I don't think so. Like, I still think they need a real DH. Hopefully Alonso, but I think a real DH, particularly left-handed, would be nice. Then you have a really nice lineup, and then like we said, you already added at least 2 starting pitchers. You still need 2 more, in my opinion. So that's where they need to focus, and then you can fill out the bullpen with Stern stuff. Like, it may not be guys we heard of, but
Stern
do your thing.
stuff. He's like, go dumpster diving, egg. Finish the bullpen with a dumpster.
Find your dumpster and go get your rewards. Like,
Because Clay Holmes will be your big, high leverage arm by mid-May, so it's okay.
So how many years will Francisco Lindor have left when that 5-year opt-out gets to it? That would be
3, I think.
he'll have 2 years left, I think.
Two or
No, I
3.
think let me see.
Yeah, 2 years because he's signed through 2031. That's not a real year. That's not a real year. Come on, man. Wow.
So when does the jerseys go on sale so we can crash the website?
I mean, that's a pretty interesting point you make, though, about how Lindor, how his contract would be shortly up after that. So there's a scenario where, like, if he did opt out, then you're no Lindor and no Soto, and you're kind of maybe finding a new core.
You're just done forever.
So that is interesting. I mean, I wonder how that kind of factors into the equation of potentially opting out. So that's an interesting time to do
a
it.
31-year-old Soto, he will have to decide whether to keep $550 million.
Or get more
Wow.
money.
God. That's such a hard life, you know? That's really just such a hard life.
So I guess this kind of proves one thing. If you're going to have kids, give them a baseball bat and send them to the Dominican Republic, and you're going to make money.
Wow.
I mean, I think it proves
Juan
that
Soto.
him turning down that initial offer from the Nationals was the right move. He got like what, double the money almost. So,
Double the money. Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
it, 15,
This kid-
440 or something? Something like that.
440, yeah. That's crazy. This kid's
Yeah,
only
well,
26. That's the funniest
The
part.
MLB
He's
shop
26.
still has Yankee gear for him.
It'll be on clearance. Give it a little
Yeah,
bit.
exactly.
Well, I guess we technically have to call a timeout here. He hasn't passed his physical yet, and the Mets haven't posted it yet, so the deal is not official. He's only agreed to terms.
That is a good point. The Mets have
So let's call a timeout. Let's get it
My
celebrated.
man, hey, Precious Achua said we lit.
There you go. Attaboy, Precious. And Josh Hart is crying. So, yeah, anytime to make Josh
Yeah, I'm
Hart
sure
cry,
he's crying.
it's great.
Oh, damn it. He's not
When
going
is
to
he
produce
not?
for the rest of the season, is he?
Oh, God.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
If he opts
So let's
out,
trade
we
for
are
Correa, too. Screw it. Let's go.
You never know. If they...
Hey, 5 years from
If they
Lindor's
do
going to be
something
36.
like,
I mean, come on.
because like it's really weird to think about, because when it comes to the off season with these big names, you also see like these complementary like well-known pieces. Because like when the Dodgers got Shohei, they also got Teoscar Hernandez. They're also ridiculous.
And
Glasnow and Yamamoto. Like they got all of these crazy. Like when it came to what was it, Bryce Harper? They also got like, was that the same year? No, it wasn't. Did they trade for JT?
No, the next year they got Schwarber.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was,
What-
yeah.
what-
And the next year they signed
Yeah.
Schwarber and what's it called?
Yeah, so like those complementary pieces, I'm curious to see what that is, because even in like, I mean, at the time it didn't really work out the best. Even when we got Lindor, we still had Carlos Carrasco added to it. So it's like there still was like well-known, like established pieces attached to those types of those types of guys who can make the roster a little bit deeper. Obviously, this is more of a free agency signing; it's a little bit different, but. You know, I am excited, to be honest, to see what happens. I'm hoping there's a certain left-handed bat. That they go
Well, are
after.
we all? But I think one of the other really encouraging things too is that we talked about this before, but with so much money coming off of the payroll going into next season, even with the Mets having a contract with no deferrals, so you're saying, okay, all of this is counting towards next year's salary. That's going to put the Mets at right now around $203 million. And you still have almost $100 million before you're really hitting a big threshold in the luxury tax. So I think that's also very encouraging. So, you know, overall, that's huge too. So that doesn't necessarily prevent them from getting other big pieces. So the people that are asking about Alonso, it doesn't change it all too much, to be honest with you. You would think that it would, but they are in a good spot right now where that's another reason why it was kind of okay to offer this amount of money, because you didn't
Just
have
perfectly
like
lined up.
all these guys already committed. Like a few years ago when you did have Verlander at 41 million and you had Scherzer at 40 million and you're still paying McCann and this guy and that guy, like it gets a little tougher because you're already at the tax. But just right now, everything lines up really nicely. So, and if they want to keep this approach of, like we talked about, how expensive starting pitching is, if you can have a good rotation at a cheap cost, it allows you to spend big on the offense. So we'll see if that's the approach they go. But they have the ability to do that right now. And having Vientos outplaying his contract because he plays way better than what he's.
That's what I was going to add. Yeah.
So I mean, like they have a lot of things in their favor right now. It's
this is the most
good timeline.
Yeah. This is the most pre-arb players I think I've ever seen the Mets have going into like a certain season. I mean, they have a lot of guys under pre-arb, not even just in arbitration. A lot of guys in pre-arb, a lot of young guys, and certainly quite a few, prospects who just came up to see if they pan out. Of course, that's why you guys
Marussio's
are
and
so-
Priarb,
Yeah.
like a lot of good ones.
I wish Christian Scott was healthy because then you could talk about like a young pitching guy. I'm hoping that there's a certain guy that they are in on for free agency to add to this rotation, but we'll talk about that eventually when that's more relevant, when his market heats up a little bit more. But Starling Marte has reacted. I think he got the news. His fellow Dominican brother, he's saying, welcome to our family. He's showing him in a Dominican Republic jersey from the WBC. So I think Starling Marte got the news. Who's going to tell him that he's getting traded? I'm not going to say it. But hey, you never know. That could be the Yankees Soto pivot. Trading for Starling Marte.
The Yankees are not going to do any business with the Mets. They have to be pissed.
No, they don't.
They're like, we don't want anything to do with you. We were hanging up the phone. Do not call us.
Hey, maybe they want Jeff McNeil. They like versatile. They signed John Birdie
It's
last
a
year.
once-in-a-lifetime opportunity because of the Mets being the little brother and everything. And listen, I'm not one who really trash talks the Yankees that much because I really have more of my hatred goes towards the Mets in that regard. But when it comes to the Yankees, I'm just waiting for just one time where I just see, and this will be the first time we ever could see it, where Hal Steinbrenner just gets up and says, "We battled, we tried." What else can you really say? The aftermath.
Couldn't beat the juggernaut.
The Mets finally come out on top, somewhat. Finally, to grab Juan Soto to this record-setting deal. A generational talent, 26 years old, so young. But to take him from the team across the river, that's quite a statement. You can't say it's not a statement. Personally, I don't really care in regards to that right now because Soto and Lindor, it's going to be so much fun. But when it comes to making the statement of New York, it's kind of similar, even though it did not work out. So hopefully, it's very similar to like when you think about it, like KD and Kyrie going to the Nets instead of the Knicks. Like it's very similar to that. You never know. You never know. I don't know what to tell you. Anyways.
Oh, God.
I'll look for more media stuff again on Twitter. We're trying to see anything happen. Maybe the Yankees get Harrison Bader. That might be a decent pivot.
Bring him home.
Maybe bring back Verdugo. I don't know. This isn't a Yankee show. You never know.
Who cares? They're poverty.
But anyways.
Oh, Lindor did post on Instagram. He posted a bunch of eyeball emojis of a picture of him and Soto when they're both standing at second base. Soto was a Yankee. So he has acknowledged it.
Wow. It was all it. Will Salmon coming through, one of the best in Mets media, saying Juan Soto's bat works everywhere. His numbers at Citi Field, though, are something else. In 35 career games at Citi Field, he's only played 35 games at Citi Field. I feel like he's tortured us for a lot longer than that.
Yeah, it does.
146 plate appearances, a 1,175 OPS, and 12 home runs, including two of the 5 longest home runs in the stadium history, 466, 463. Yeah, guys, Juan Soto's good. Just in case you didn't know. But you never know.
He's good at hitting baseball.
You will not be the only one to say Jeff is good. Frank still actually does believe that. It's actually really it's really sad, to be honest. But he is the old guy here, so it's like one of those memes where it's like, okay, Grandpa, let's get you to sleep. Anyways, time for medication. Anyways, once again, for those of you who didn't know, Juan Soto is really good at this game of baseball, if you didn't know. And that's the main reason as to why he just got this contract. He is on the Fangraphs depth chart for the Mets, but it doesn't say that he does play for the Mets yet on his full-on page. So you don't know, but we are, you never know, okay? You just never know. I'm just saying. Things can spiral. You guys are going to miss the playoffs. Well, listen, I am glad we finally got the fortune teller in here. I've been asking for a fortune teller in our chat for a long time. You guys didn't let me have it. And we finally got the fortune teller in here. So glad. Anyways. That is, what is that? That is 7 consecutive seasons of an on-base percentage over 400.
Oh, God.
And what was that? 6 of the 7 seasons, he's at a slugging percentage over 525. I mean, that is come on, that's insane. Our boy Ibby coming in here, absolutely.
Hey.
I've got the beanie. I'm a beanie guy. Absolutely. I mean, as you guys know, again, I never doubted it for a second. I never did. Okay, you never know, and sometimes pessimism works out, right? It works out. Anyways.
Well, I mean, can I quote our former number 3 starter in Luis Severino? Since you're not petty against the Yankees, I'm a petty bitch when it comes to making fun of the Yankees. To quote Luis Severino, now they only have 1 good hitter on their team, not 2.
That would be quoting.
Now they
That
only
would be
got
quoting yourself because he said 2 hitters. So technically,
Well, but now it's
considering
down
how
to
the
1.
English language
you know
That's
what?
an original quote now.
It's the original Rhino quote. There you go.
Yeah, so there's a depth chart now. This team kind of could use P. Alonso back because I'll tell you what, after the top 4, you're looking at Marte, McNeil, Tyrone Taylor, Alvarez, and Beatty. Yikes. We could use P. Alonso back, I think. I know everyone might not be crazy about him, but I mean, right now the in-house alternatives of Beatty is just not it. It's really not.
I mean, we do have Clifford, right?
Shut the fuck.
He's not ready.
Oh god.
Yeah,
Hey,
to be honest, I think New York is going to be split because of this. Listen, I'm here for the battle. I'm here for it.
We're ready to battle.
We talked about it. We talked about it, I think, off stream. But I think Soto he will get probably the loudest boos ever when we go to Yankee Stadium. I can't wait, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because if he does homer, you know that he's doing one of these. So, I mean, I don't know. This is great. This is fantastic. I cannot wait. I also can't wait for First Take tomorrow, where Stephen A. tries to care about baseball.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Get
I forgot
pissed
about
off.
that.
That's gonna be funny. So this is fantastic. This is absolutely fantastic. New York Mets land superstar Juan Soto, 15 years, $765 million. Guys, we're going to probably stay on for quite a little bit longer, but of course we will have a little bit more to talk about in the future of what is next for this team. Of course, we still have 3 more days of the winter meetings to go. It goes through the 12th of December, so I'm sure there's going to be other signings that the Mets make. I do think they're going to make an interesting trade regarding maybe a reliever. I'm thinking maybe a little repeat of Brooks Raley during the winter meetings, maybe something like that. Interesting, such as that. Two Cats saying, Steve Cohen has my respect, spent whatever he wants, and cares about winning franchise that has struggled for so long. W owner. Absolutely. And I was definitely not ready to write him off. Okay. Oh, is this Andy Martino? You want to?
Yeah, he was on
Okay, go
SNY
ahead.
about an hour ago. He said this on SNY.
Yeah. All right. If you want to.
Yeah, so, I mean, we didn't get to watch SNY because we're busy doing this, but Martinez said that the Mets were dead in the water on this at about 3 p.m. today. This was going nowhere. Momentum was with the Yankees, and it picked up late, and it picked up quick. So I don't really know how to feel about that because I guess the Yankees had offered the 760 or whatever, and then and that's what I'm saying is that if the Mets were dead, quote unquote,
and it seemed like
Boris,
they did have the momentum, like it really seemed all day. Yeah.
But once again, that means that Boris had to go back to Steve Cohen and said, "Listen, we're about to take this Yankees offer. Can you top this?" And he said 800. That has to be what happened, and that'll get it done. I mean, when you all of a sudden, and we talked about like, okay, well, how much more does it have to be? Is it 20 million? Is it 10 million? 40 apparently was that magic number. And Cohen said, okay, well, here's the Godfather offer, whatever you want to call it, 800 million, 805. What are you gonna do about it?
And the Yankees said, "Oof, we can't do that. Sorry." Or maybe they didn't even go back to the Yankees. I don't like that's the thing. Like we don't know that. I mean, because then the Yankees, and this goes on forever. That's one of the things I was kind of a little worried about is that if you did get a team, and originally I thought maybe there's going to be a Dodgers because they're crazy and they spend so much money, but is how much back and forth does it go? Like it's literally an actual bid. It's like do I have a 700? Okay, do you have a 750? Like I mean, how much longer is this going to go on, and how many times is sports going to go back and forth? Oh, here's their offer. What do you think? Oh, here's their offer. You're just kind of going back and forth between the teams. So I wonder, like, when was like, or maybe it was something. Could Cohen have really been aggressive and been like, I'm going to offer you 800, and this is like, or you can't go back to the Yankees. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, what it was, but I mean, that's kind of where things are very interesting to me because I don't know about it seems like a little bit of exaggeration. Mets to be dead at 3:00. Because again, I feel like they've been, and they showed you, like they've been so aggressive.
To be honest,
in
I
trying
think,
to acquire
I think
him,
Andy
that I
Martino
don't
is
think they
more
were ever out of
like
it.
Andy Martino's more of just like holding back tears in that. They were out of it at 3 p.m. and what happened? For those of you who are watching SNY or did watch SNY or saw anything on Twitter, because I haven't really seen any Andy clips, is he dead inside? Does he look dead?
The eyes were like a lost puppy dog. It's like, well, the bad.
See, that makes me feel alive. That makes me feel alive. Anyways, for a Yankee fan, just tweeted this out, and I'm not saying this to go after Yankee fans or anything, because I don't have any confidence right now. Saying Bryce Harper missed on Machado, missed on Seager, missed on Turner, missed on Ohtani, missed on Yamamoto, missed on Snell, missed on Juan Soto, but keep making excuses for Hal Steinbrenner.
Can't get them all, but I mean,
hey,
Aaron
Judge took
don't worry, Yankee fans.
Aaron
They'll
Judge
do
took a
something.
discount, so you got him. It's not like he dropped an opportunity.
Yeah. Listen, they can cope any way that they want.
Yep.
I'm just telling you. I'm happy. Okay, that's all that matters. I am happy, and we get to shuffle. We get to do the shuffle. The first time that he does it in spring training, it will be special. I will just say that. It might be the most, to be honest, Port St. Lucie at spring training might be the most crowded ever that it's ever been, to be honest. Now that you think about it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah, to be honest. It would be insane.
So imagine the spring training lineup hitting first, Jose Siri, hitting second, Juan Soto. Imagine the aura 1-2. Just imagine a spring training lineup.
Okay, you're selling Francisco Lindor way too short here. Okay,
Well,
come on.
I'm saying a spring training game. I didn't say regular season.
Oh, by the way, other news for those of you that we've just passed completely off of. Blake Trinan back to the Dodgers. 2 years, $22 million. Somebody who was on our list to avoid. So there you go. But as for other things that we could talk about in the future, we do have some videos in prep. Now that we have Juan Soto, we will have Andrew's off-season simulation with Juan Soto. Now that we've made quite a few major moves, we'll see how that takes us. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I think that there are going to be some moves that also do make it and kind of take us out of the frame to do that, but we'll see. There's going to be some other videos as well coming up, because the offseason, believe it or not, just started. It just freaking started.
Tomorrow the floodgates open. It's day one of the winter meetings.
They do.
Yeah,
they do
I'm interested
open.
to see how that goes. Like, you feel like now you're going to see a lot of guys kind of.
One thing I do want to know here, okay, because this is just of it winding down. We got Juan Soto. It's over. What was the Blue Jays offer? What was the Blue Jays offer that was
There's
so
no way it was
massive
this.
and could have been so much bigger than the Mets?
There's
What could
no
have been?
way. I think they hung the phone up on them a long time ago. And I wonder, this is just me, but seeing as the way how it seems like the Blue Jays and the Red Sox really kind of fell out of this thing and came down to the Mets and Yankees, I still find it just very interesting that the main competitors that were reported by Boris's buddy, John Heyman,
were Yankee rivals. And I wonder how much that was a negotiation tactic to get the Yankees to increase their offer, because I don't know. I mean, based on what we're hearing about how bad, because again, if money is the deciding factor, from what we heard of how bad Toronto wanted him, how bad Boston wanted him, how were they just not in the equation? Like, you notice how today we haven't heard a word about Toronto or Boston? Maybe that's all we were hearing leading into this. How all of a sudden they drop out of this? I mean, that's just kind of fishy to me, to be honest. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, we did get some reports that they were definitely connected to Teoscar Hernandez. Both of those teams were.
Yeah, but that's a pivot. That sounds like, okay, I'm out of
yeah.
the Soto sweepstakes. Not the, Boston wants another meeting. Name your price. Like, come on.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know, but
because when
it's
you're saying
crazy to think
Teoscar,
about.
that sounds like you're out of it. You're pivoting. Now you're going to the second option. Oh, I didn't get. And same thing with Dodgers. Oh, I didn't get Soto. Now I'm signing Conforto. Now I'm interested in Teoscar. Like, that kind of told you that these other teams that kind of dropped out.
To be honest, Conforto's kind of the same level there as Soto. Like, when you think about it, he's a fairly disciplined hitter.
Same amount of World Series homers.
He's kind of just like the white version of him. Like, he's from Oregon. And, okay, so, I got my Juan Soto prediction wrong. So, there you go.
Fake fan.
So what I'm wondering is that I wonder if maybe the Yankees did, like, a huge offer today, and then those other teams kind of dropped out of it. Like the Blue Jays and Dodgers or Red Sox are like, okay, we're out. Like, we're not going to top that. And then the Mets are like, oh, but we will. And then that's kind of how this came just...
All right, well, I got my Trident prediction. All right, cool.
Nobody cares.
Okay, you know what? I'm just keeping track, okay? I'm keeping track. Do you think we get Corbin Burns? I don't see that happening. I'm going to tell you right now. I do think that the only big fish pitching guy, and I guess I can say it now, Roki Sosaki. I think their Mets are going to try and get him. I don't think it happens.
Yeah.
I think that the Dodgers and Padres are a little bit more likely, more out west. I saw that their market for Roki Sosaki, the Mets were the only East Coast team in there. So that's very interesting to think about, mainly because maybe you can say it's a leverage point. I don't know. I can't really say leverage horse anymore because they just shut me up giving this money to Juan Soto, and he signed on the dotted line. Actually, he didn't yet.
The Padres won the Soto trade. That's for sure.
Yeah, Michael. A free Michael King. There you go.
Yeah. Not bad.
Not bad. Not bad. Listen, hey, they
still got to turn Grayson
that is quite a statement. Let's just say that. A statement from all angles. Juan Soto makes a statement to the Shohei Ohtanis of the world, which there aren't any. But he gets the biggest contract. That could be over $800 million. Most likely will be. And then the Mets make a statement by finally getting the big guy. And locking him down in free agency, making up for because it was all Billy Epler's fault when they didn't get Correa, because I'm serious. I'm telling you, it was Billy Epler. He bashed his ankle with a lead pipe. Did you not see that? Anyways, so it's late. I'm sorry. But when it comes to the Mets just making a statement, taking away Juan Soto from the Yankees. And it's not just because he played for them last year. I mean, after what Martino said, dead in the water at 3 p.m. and then you fast forward 8 hours later, we are live, and the Mets land Juan Soto to a record-setting deal. That's insane, nuts. Andrew?
Okay, and I'm a petty, but think about it. Imagine this is the other way around. Imagine you let the guy who hit the homer to send you to the World Series, and you let him go because you couldn't match $5 million. Like,
it's
think of
$40 million.
Well,
Andrew,
not officially. It's only $5 million as of now. In 5 years from now, that will add $40 million. But overall, Rise,
I think that was it. I think that's what pushed it over the edge was the $4 million raise for 10 more years if he stays after the 5th year.
God.
Like, if he rejects that, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, listen, if there is one person to reject some money like that and get more, it's Scott Boras, and it would be him. But I'm just saying, like, that's nuts. That's crazy, man. Do you think he deserves more money than Shohei? I mean, per value, probably not. but it's what had to get it done. And yes, he's a lot younger than Shohei, so it definitely adds up in that regard and gives you a little bit more value. But yeah, I'm definitely confident he'll be staying for all 15 years.
I do have a little nugget. Jeff Passan was just on ESPN talking with Van Pelt. Jeff Passan believes Juan Soto chose the Mets over the Yankees because the Mets had the better future.
Ah.
Woo!
Wonder who said that.
We got future. Future.
Just a bunch of
But,
midgets.
I mean, we did
think about
talk
it if you want to
about
talk
that,
about it at
though.
face value. You want to talk
No,
about
I
face
mean-
value? Yeah.
No, because we said the Yankees have a lot committed to their team already, and it hasn't
Yeah.
been going all that great. So if they actually, that's the thing. I mean, if Soto took this offer from the Yankees, and if there was no deferrals or anything like that, it would be tough for them. I mean, it would be. 'cause
Also,
like we said, they
when you're
already
talking
had
about
it,
like the
man.
future and the organization, Stearns compared to Cashman, Stearns is way cuter. You know,
and we
He's
say
cute.
Cashman might be stepping down soon. Who knows? I mean, he might.
And Boone can be fired at any time, so yeah.
Yeah, I would think, but immortal there. So I don't know. I mean, it's all very interesting.
Very, very interesting, man. We could go all night because this is like a fever dream, man. This is nuts. This is just crazy. Darren Rivera coming in. What's going on? One of our loyal viewers, always here in the stream, chatting it up with us. Stevie Mac saying Cohen was probably just hanging out, drinking some scotch that none of us could ever afford when this all went down. Yeah, to be honest, to be honest, now at this current moment, as everything calms down, everything happened, I really just want Cohen to go on Twitter tomorrow
I'm
morning.
shocked he hasn't tweeted.
I want him to go on Twitter tomorrow morning, wake up, and say what happened.
Oh yeah.
Because that's the thing that you expect him to do, but it's like, wow, unreal, man. Yeah, this one is
did
for
yeah. No, he's still there. Huh. It's weird.
yeah. Well, we'll see. I don't know. You never
He
know.
hasn't tweeted since the season ended.
Yeah, with when a Cohen tweet goes out, you see it. You definitely see it all over everything. So we'll see what happens. This one goes for you. This one's for you, Andrew. By the way.
Oh God.
From Matthew Searle Baseball on Twitter, saying, I'm old enough to remember Alejandro De Aza as one of the biggest signings in the Mets offseason. That one's for you.
There you go.
All right. What's the Mets lineup with Soto? I think we had a projected lineup come up from Talking Baseball. I can pop that thing up right now.
MLB Network.
Replace Taylor with Siri.
Yeah.
I forget someone
Yeah,
else.
we can dupe this thing out for a second. That's probably what it looks like at this current moment.
Just look at 1-2. We'll talk about the rest of that later.
1-2. Yeah.
And you know what? And like we said, it's the beginning of the offseason. There's still a lot more to be determined. Like that's not the lineup. There's gonna be some changes made.
It's like put Acuna in there. You know, get rid of put Winker back in there. You'll be all right.
All I can say is, and since the Juan Soto stuff is done now, you add Pete, and then you add Jock Peterson, and it looks beautiful. It really does look gorgeous. And then, you do have Jeff McNeil, unfortunately, which sucks, but you never know. We'll see what other free agents this influences to come over, because a signing like Juan Soto, he's not Ohtani. Ohtani's Ohtani is a unicorn, all right? But Juan Soto's pretty good. I'll tell you that. He's pretty good. Let's just say that.
So,
Anyways.
what's the total number of hours we're all going to have tonight sleeping? Because I don't think I'm going to bed. What's the number at?
No, I to be honest, I'm going to be sleep shuffling. I'm just going to be up. I'm just going to be up in the kitchen, just
in the kitchen.
just in the kitchen while I'm asleep, and I'm going to haunt everyone, just sleep shuffling, Soto shuffle. Anyways, how do you guys feel if we got Bregman moved Vientos to first versus getting Pete? I don't see Bregman happening personally. I just don't see it as a really good fit. But I don't know if you guys. I just don't think they're going to be in that market. I just don't.
I mean, Bregman is also kind of declining a little bit. I feel like now that we're talking about you have Soto, it's like you want, I feel like, power protection behind him, and I feel like Pete is much, even though he struggled, I feel like teams maybe fear Pete a little more than they fear Bregman.
Yeah, definitely. And then also just the fact of him being a right-handed hitter, it's definitely still, it's right-hander. It's right-hander heavy. The fact that you're your third best left-handed hitter right now is Jeff McNeil. That's concerning. Let's just say that. Did McNeil decline?
Well, I mean, Lindor
Or
switched
last
so
year
you could
was
say
it
4.
just such a bad, just a bad fluke? No, he just sucks. That's really much the end of his career, pretty much. Moving on. Anyways,
Hey, we could go to Luis Ariz. He's available.
left-handed?
yeah, the overpaid version of McNeil. Okay.
Exactly.
I just want to hug Uncle Steve, but he might think I'm one of the unwanted MTA train passengers. That's funny. That's funny. I like it.
From New York.
Also, Juan better win us so much, or we're going to get clowned for it. Listen, all you can do is play the games. All you can do.
Again, this guy carried the
Stop
Yankees to
dissing
the
Jeff.
World Series,
Man, you're in the wrong place, man. you're on the wrong place. Sorry. I
I was gonna
apologize.
call somebody out. I'll shut up. Yeah, I was gonna say something. I'll shut my mouth. Not gonna say anything.
Anyways.
Man, he's got to live up to Alejandro De Aza. That's crazy. That's crazy. King himself.
Yeah, I think he could do that. At minimum, he'd be able to accomplish that.
I mean, that's a high bar, though. Remember that Jackie Robinson on Day Homer. Remember that.
All right. Well, one thing you can say about Juan Soto's defense, even though it's not the best, he does have a great arm. So hopefully that can make up things for it. You never know with the defensive positioning. It helped Brandon Nimmo. That's another thing for those of you. He definitely turned into a serviceable defender after. I mean, remember when Nimmo was here like regularly, like at the beginning of his career when he was getting hurt. He probably was like the worst defensive outfielder in all of baseball. Like he was really bad. Like he was one of the worst.
I mean, Nick Castellanos always existed, so.
Castellanos never played center field. Like Castellanos was always in the
I remember when
Experiment.
the Mets had to put Granderson in center field because they just had nobody left and just hit over his head. Like that was, and I love.
I mean,
Granderson,
put
but
Soto in
they
center
just
field.
had
Yeah.
nothing.
Just screw the defense. Just put Soto in center. Sign Tucker. Let's just all new.
Granderson wasn't always the fastest guy, but he always had a really good bolt off the bat. Like that was the thing. He always had a really
by
good
that time
jump,
in his
which is
career, though, he was not the
at
same.
that point, yeah, he was done at that point. They had to move Conforto to center field a few times.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, they've been through it in the outfield for sure.
oh yeah,
And then they had Cespedes play center because they knew they had no other option. Like
yeah.
they had to put him there.
Well,
They
before
knew that when they
Cespedes got
him.
hurt, we knew Cespedes could fly before he got hurt. But anyways,
when he
that's
wanted
the
to
good
turn
old
on, he
days.
could.
Yeah. So the worst season that Juan Soto ever had was probably
The
I
year he
don't
went to
know.
the Padres.
Yeah, it was
probably
an
the year he went to the Padres.
853 OPS
Exactly.
was his worst year with 34 homers or whatever it was. Worst
yeah,
year
per
of his
war,
career.
yeah, per war, it's 2022
Yep.
when he went to the Padres. And he was a 130 bat. Man, don't you hate
Yeah.
when that happens?
That's horrible. An
just hate
834
when that
OPS.
happens, man.
Trash.
Nuts. Only a 388 on base percentage. That's insane,
That's
man.
pretty bad, yeah. For a bad year.
Wow. How can you be that terrible, you know?
But I
That's
mean, think
nuts,
about
man.
it. This guy's been passed around. This is his fourth team already. I mean, is he really that good? This guy gets traded all the time and leaves organizations. Come on.
Yeah. I think I saw what was it? I think what was it a few days ago. I was watching like the SNY WFAN, like some random guy from Connecticut calls in or whatever, and he's
God.
like, I don't want the Mets to get Soto or whatever. They got to focus on the pitching. And then also, I think he's like Javi Baez. I think he's a cancer in the locker room.
Jesus.
And Evan Roberts just goes off on him. Like, he's just like, oh, my God, how do you know? It's like, Jesus Christ, man. I don't think that's, to be honest, I don't think that's true whatsoever. I mean, from everybody that's talked about Juan Soto, he's a phenomenal teammate. I mean,
to me, I go back to during the regular season when the Mets beat the Yankees every time, and a lot of them in convincing fashion. And Juan Soto's just standing there in right field, just watching these guys with an OMG sign and a grimace, just like dancing. And he's like, and I'm on this boring team. We're getting our butts kicked by these guys just dancing around and singing. Like, I want to be like, that's kind of where the future thing maybe comes into evolve. It's like, that looks fun. Like, I want to do that, not this crap. Like, it's just, I don't know. I mean, that's just me, but I feel like they had to do something. I said during the regular season, I feel like that's like the best recruiting tactic you could do is like beat him convincingly and have fun and be like, you could come. One thing you can't say
about the Mets in 2024, as stressful and as roller coaster of a year it was, they were fun. They were a really fun team. Let's just say that they played whenever they started to play like they weren't taking it seriously. Then it looked like they were more locked in. They played loose for a majority of that season. Let's just say that. But Darren Rivera coming through saying we were discussing this in the Subway to Shea. Shout out to Subway to Shea, Anthony Rivera, one of our good friends. That Soto's barber said that if the Yankees didn't win the World Series, he was going to sign with the Mets. Well, that barber, he better have made a bet because he's pretty wealthy at this current moment. The Mets paid $765 million just to strike out to Ohtani in the NLCS. Yeah, again, more fortune tellers. I love it. Can you just not do a physical, and if he fails, just sign? Anyway, yeah, listen. I'm kind of scared of it. Has the physical been passed?
No, the Mets have not tweeted anything out. No, until the Mets tweet something out, this deal's not done.
Crap. Now we're just going to be biting our nails throughout that because you just never know.
And then the Dodgers in the last second swoop in and steal him.
Yeah.
That'd be something. So,
to be honest, I really do think the tipping point was Jose Siri. You know, when it comes to it, you know, I think that was it. That was what pushed it over the top. You know, he's like, I have somebody with the same amount of letters in my name and the first, the JS. You know, oh, and Siri had number 22 too. So I think he's going to be number
it's
like.
It's going to be quite a fight.
He's going to be a different number. I'm pretty sure. And if Beatty doesn't want to give up the number, he can just go fuck himself. I don't care. Maybe that's the reason why he's been in the trade rumors these last few hours. You never. I don't know.
Gotta that number.
Gotta get that number.
Because I'm pretty sure because Puma's usually more of a Cohen guy. So I'm pretty sure he was the one who reported that. Originally, so you never know.
Well, I mean, shout out to Puma. He was the first one that said a Soto decision could come tonight. I mean, he was on point there.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Mets beat writer, so maybe it's possible that, you know, you never know. Wow. Yeah, Jeff Passan on SportsCenter, you're right. In the end, Juan Soto looked at the Mets' future and looked at the Yankees' future and decided the Mets had a better future than the Yankees. That is the story of how the New York Mets got Juan Soto.
Again, I don't know. He was in the pool. I mean, I still think this was Soto. I mean, Cohen gave this contract with this clause that we just didn't expect, and it becomes $800 million, and they said yes. You know, I feel like he was on his phone in the pool, and Boris Tyson said, "Oh, they just moved it to 800," and Soto said yes. That's what I think happened. I mean, he was in the pool just chilling. He was looking at any futures. He didn't have a crystal ball. He didn't have
Clay Holmes too. I mean,
that was to get anyone to sign.
And Montas. Oh no, they were never teammates. I don't know. No. Okay, so who is the next WBC Dominican Republic player we got to get in here? Vlad? Is Vlad the guy we got to trade? Because like if they pull off I want to see if there is another ridiculous move up their sleeve. I do want to see it because again, you never know with what Juan Soto could possibly attract.
what happened on, you guys probably saw it on Saturday Night Live last night, that they're like making fun of the Mets
Yes.
because of how like aggressive they've been. You know, Cohen saw that. Like he's not messing around. Like he's not. Like, and that's what I say. It's a different time now where the Mets are not to be laughed at. Now, like they're for real. Like they are trying. Like they're doing what it takes to be like a legitimate team.
And the Mets got grimace. He said, "Sign me up." All right.
I mean, Frank got that creepy ass
Lindor put
pumpkin,
it out
bro. That
there?
shit is creepy that day. God damn. My eyes are terrifying. Jesus.
What happened?
Oh, God. The pumpkin up there,
What
like,
happened?
looking through my soul up there. And Frank said him, that pumpkin, like, my eyes just looking through my soul. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So.
Yeah, they have a lot of guys from Puerto Rico and they have a lot of guys from the Dominican Republic. So, and then they have Jeff.
Then they have Jeff. I mean,
Wow.
think about it. They can add, let's do a 3-team trade. You call the Twins, call the Blue Jays. We'll take Correa and Vlad. We just shed the whole farm system. Let's go win a ring. I mean, let's do it.
At least the Yankees have Jason Dominguez. You know,
That is true. They do have the Martian.
the Martian.
They got 2 outfielders that
Don't we have
can't
one of
catch a
the-
ball.
We do.
Yes.
Vladdy Miguel Guerrero. I don't know how well he did in his first year. He didn't really play much, but
Yeah, they got.
I know he struggled to start it. I got to get my guy Wex on that. Tell me how he's doing. Vladdy Guerrero. Let's see. Yeah, he was in the Dominican Summer League. 577 OPS. Yeah, so it's going to be a while until we get. He's 17 years old, so he's still young, but we'll see.
Him and Simone Juan going crazy down there.
Simon Juan, the oldest developmental league. I got an idea. We get Judge. I mean, we could have got Judge, but again, Hal and Cohen had a
deal.
handshake under the table, according to Andy Martino, to not do that. But no, I'm fine with Nimmo here. I know Frank is not.
He hates him, I know.
He
Yeah.
really hates Nimmo.
I mean, I don't know. I don't love paying a center fielder to just move straight to left field way earlier than expected. I just.
But that dead supports a
This
guy
fucking guy.
who's regressed worse than the McRib, but defends the McJerk.
But
Yeah,
you're
but
okay
McNeil's
paying
about
Jeff
to be
McNeil.
gone, and Nimmo's still here for a long time. I mean, McNeil will be long gone while Nimmo's like 35, just kind of, who knows what he's got left.
McNeil's never leaving. He never leaves.
He's like that one cousin at the party. He just doesn't want to go home. He's just still standing there. God.
Anybody just look at that picture we have in the left and just smile. Just
Yeah.
smile.
I mean, my background is the 2 pictures together of Lindor and
There you
him.
go.
So,
Mine will always be number 39. That
oh,
will
because you
never
like
change,
mid, yeah.
sorry.
I get it, yeah. It's mid.
Has Diaz posted his
I haven't
reaction
seen
yet?
anything about Diaz.
No, nothing. Yeah. Wow. You got to think the Yankees are pursuing Burns now, right? Got
Burns and
so.
Alonso.
Corbin?
Yeah, they got to do Burns
Well,
and
I mean,
Alonso.
yeah, you could try to put Corbin Burns in right field. I'm sure it would go great.
Jeez.
That'd be
What a
great
no-
fire protection for Joe.
Exactly.
Or Pete in right field with that great arm he's got.
No, I
Exactly.
wonder. No, I wonder how Santander might factor the equation with Tyler O'Neill signing with Baltimore. I mean, maybe that's a target. You'd fit in Yankee stand pretty
Could
good.
be.
But okay, here's my thing, and this is maybe why, like, I've obviously listened to WFA, love listening to those morons. Like, you can put Santander in right, you got to get Judge out of center. Like, you have to move Jazz to center and sign either go for Arenado or Bregman. That would make more sense than just signing Santander because you're stuck with Stanton at DH. You move Judge back to right, and Jazz can go into center. That's what I would think would be the best overall wise, but who knows? Maybe they'll just give Santander $120 million. Who knows? Don't care either, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he'd still fit, obviously, but I don't know if let's not get too greedy. You know what I mean? But he'd be great for that DH opening. I'll tell you what, you'll need a platoon when the guy's a switch hitter. So
Yeah.
All right,
mean,
you guys might have to mute your mics because it might
Oh,
it
boy.
might echo here, but
no.
this I think everybody needs to see.
Oh, God.
Right?
Yo, Juan Soto, listen up, man. This is your new fucking home. This is your new home right here. Shut the fuck up and don't fucking complain. Look at this shithole. Look at this fucking shithole. Right across the street. Look at this fucking dump. Road fucking closed. You chose this piece of shit to be your home for the next 15 fucking years because you're a money-hungry fucking bitch. Fuck you. Fuck you. Every Yankee fan should burn your fucking jersey. Fuck you, Juan Soto. Suck my fucking dick. Fuck you too, Scott Morris. Suck my fucking dick.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Yankee fans.
He took that well.
He took it well. My question is, why are you by Citi Field? My question. What are you doing over there? It's late at night, bro. There's vampires out. What the hell are you doing?
Man.
And then thinks
All
Yankee
right,
Stadium,
well.
which is in the hood. But okay, nothing wrong with that.
Oh my God, bro. I am crying. That is great.
I'm sure there'll be more where that came from.
Oh yeah,
man.
I can't wait to get off and just go on YouTube and just watch all the Yankee fans cry. I love it. It's gonna be great.
Oh man. There's one guy I want to hear from. We all know who it is. And we're not going to mention him. There's one guy I do want to hear from on TikTok. Anyways.
I want to hear from
the
David.
average Yankee fan, Rip Yankees. I'm sorry. Listen, it's just funny. I'm sorry. That is so funny.
Oh man. So he really did just rent in the Bronx to buy a house in Queens.
It's gonna be fun.
It will be fun.
Yeah, I don't think how much.
I mean, and that's
think
one
we
of the
got
fun
much
things to
more
think
to
about
say.
too. Is that like when Soto was a national, you see like this 19-year-old phenomenon. It's like if at that time that someone told you, "Oh, don't worry, he's gonna be a Met age 26 for a 15-year deal," we would have been like,
Oh God,
like,
Jesus.
that's crazy to think about.
Listen, I'll take either. I'll take
Yeah.
either, to be honest. I think both of them can be great offensive pieces. One is they're both more right-handed guys.
I just don't see Jock willingly going to the East Coast yet. It's yet to happen.
Maybe to play with Juan Soto.
But
You
the
never
other
know.
thing that about Jock that like concerns me a little bit is that I mean, you look at the age, he's starting to get up there a little bit. I mean, he's gonna be, he's getting there.
He
but I
don't,
just feel
he
like
don't
it's gonna
move.
be one
He
of
hit
those
a
things
he hit a
where-
mash, man.
No, but
Exactly.
it's how many years have we been talking about Jock since we've started this show? I mean, this is now like what year 4 that we've wanted
he's
Jock.
32.
I feel like eventually it gets to the point where it's like, then he's not that guy anymore. Like if you got him 2 years ago, 3 years ago, he's great, but now, and even a lesser extent, Eovaldi, like we've wanted him year after year after year, but then all of a sudden he's 35, and if you give him a multi-year deal, it's like I wanted you 3 years ago, but now not so much. And we obviously Andrew Chafin is like the perfect example of like year after year. There's the connection, but now it's like no, thank you. Like that ship has sailed.
Well, I mean, you look at his year in Arizona last year. He still got
He
it.
still has, but I just feel that if when he's turning 33, it's like that decline. It's bound to happen sooner than later.
He's a DH now. So, like, to be honest, I
Listen,
feel like
listen, the clock struck midnight. JD Martinez, real quick. Like it looked like
JD
he was,
Martinez is
it
also
looked like he was
37.
getting into a groove again with the Dodgers. Like he had improved from Boston. Now he came to the Mets, and Father Time was like, "I'm here, and you're not the same guy." So and obviously Jock's quite a bit younger than JD, but that is going to happen at some point. There is going to be that big decline. And I would
Frank,
hate
if you're
for
going
it
to
to
interrupt
happen when
me
the
with
Mets
my
finally
dream
get
of Jock Peterson, we're going to have some issues. Let's just say that.
No,
if you're
listen,
going
you
to
could-
interrupt me.
You could dream, but I'm just saying, like
One thing I will say is that, yeah, Jock is known to hit just right-handed pitching, but he definitely has good plate discipline against lefties. So, I mean,
That's a good point. But
Just get Nolan Gorman. Just do that, please. Just save me.
Gorman.
Just save my king, please. Get him out of St. Louis.
Jocko also walks a lot. We need guys who
Yes.
don't chase. All right. And I think Juan Soto fits that quota, does he?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, no,
I think
and I'll tell you what, I think he'll do better of not chasing when there's the bases are loaded. I think that'll be another improvement for the lineup.
Yeah. Yep. And also just not facing, and also not chasing breaking balls on the other's
Exactly,
because
because that's going right in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, right there.
Going to Coca-Cola corner.
Well, we'll
Let's
see. You never know.
Let's see. Can I buy a Juan Soto jersey of one of those knockoff Chinese jerseys real quick?
I do think eventually at one point you're going to have to move Soto to left field at one point.
Oh yeah.
Like because of not just like he like as slow as Soto is
You're
in
going to have to
4
move
years,
to DH at some point.
you might have to. You'll never know. I don't know.
I mean, by year 13, 14, you're like, going to be DH.
That's the future Mets problem.
Exactly. A long time.
Julio, I think this is like the fourth time that you've said this. So if you want to give me something else to tell me, listen. If you want to give me, that, that's fine. All right, I'm all good for trash talk. All right, but I'm just saying, I need something a little bit more creative to get off my rocker. What is it? 2020, 2021.
What now?
2022, 3 consecutive years of Juan Soto had a walk rate over 20%. That's insane, man.
More walks and strikeouts.
Do you think the New York Giants meet up when they come to New York? Listen, why would they do that? What's going on, Tony? One of our old friends.
Tony put, do the New York Giants and meet up?
He's
too excited.
He's so excited.
He's gotta
He's just
listen,
excited.
Tony. Are you blitzed right now? Let us know. You gotta be, man. I mean,
He has to be.
he's got to be popping bottles. Yep. Wow.
Oh, jeez. That's funny.
I'll tell you, when it got to both teams being over 700, I got scared. I definitely did, because we didn't really expect the Yankees to
get to that,
exceed 700 by that much. We saw a lot of talk about, if the Mets are above 50 million compared to the Yankees, he'll go to the Mets. And then we see this difference. Man, we didn't know shit, did we? We know
I guess
nothing.
Adrian was right. Adrian knew.
Well, Adrian.
So I'll wait for the Mets to put it out, but I do have a Soto Mets jersey in the cart ready to go. I need that confirmation first. Take that piss test and get it passed, and then we can confirm this stuff.
Yeah. Vogo Block training hard in Guam for a potential comeback. Absolutely. Now we need Pete, Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Vientos. Alvi can compete with the Dodgers. Without Pete, we'll be the same as the 2024 Mets. Well, at one point, the 2024 Mets were being carried by the offensive production of Lindor and Vientos. You never know what's going to happen with Vientos. In regards to, with the sophomore slump, maybe there are adjustments. He has made adjustments very well so far in his young career. So we'll see what happens. But I definitely think that Pete is someone you got to put on your radar.
A little better than Pete.
But has he?
Who? Soto's a little bit better than Pete?
Yeah, just a little.
Since when?
I mean, who hit a more iconic 3-run homer? I mean, you take a pick.
That's a good point.
To any Mets fans who are at the winter meetings, I do want to say, for the rest of the winter meetings, I do encourage you to just blast "Oh my God" the whole fucking time.
So you want me? Okay, I got you.
Just running like this, a
Big boom. Do the 49ers big boom
going.
box. Just walking around with the 49ers big boom box playing that shit. Nice. Oh,
all right,
God.
so Julio coming in with some more some originality this time. I'm happy that you guys got Soto. is definitely good for baseball, but I think the Dodgers front office is the leagues above the Mets front office,
What makes you say that?
and it'll continue to show up again this coming year. I'm sure it will. I am sure it will. The Dodgers are definitely one of the top competitors there. They are one of the model franchises in that regard. And, again, we'll see. We will see. Mets did come close-ish. Again, Mets definitely put a staple down. They definitely got one of their pillars here. Their fourth pillar, I guess you can say it. 2 players, 2 executives, and a lot of shit in between. But
And the big owner up top that makes it happen. Couldn't do it without him.
Daddy Warbucks, he did it. He did it. All right, guys, we're going to stay on for about 10 more minutes, and then we will shift gears or whatever to what is next for the Mets. Because, again, this offseason, believe it or not, no matter how dramatic the Juan Soto sweepstakes have been, it's just getting started. Just getting started. So we will see what happens. Mets still have a lot of work to do. They still have roster spots to fill in. They still have payroll to spend. I don't know what our financial situation is in regards to that. We are supposed to have a lined up a podcast tomorrow. Probably won't. Maybe we push it over to today. Technically, okay. Don't be the kid at the sleepover. It's like it's today.
I'm not the kid.
Anyway.
I'm the old man who's tired.
Anyways,
This is
today,
way past
later
my
today, we were
bedtime.
supposed to have a podcast. Maybe we move it to Tuesday. Maybe we move it to Wednesday, something like that. And then we'll also have some videos out as well, some great stuff. We'll see what the Mets pivot to. Maybe we do go live for another signing, just to cap it all off. But you never know. The Cardinals are always dangerous. Even without super talent. Yeah, listen, they've been a sustainable winner. Andrew, you want to comment on that one? Andrew?
No.
No. Okay.
I know people think they're the Steelers in baseball, but yeah, no.
They kind of are. To be honest, think about it.
We'll see.
Because like every now and then they do get to a Super Bowl. A Super Bowl. Every now and then they get to a Super Bowl.
They go Super Bowl.
They're consistent playoff.
And it's almost like talent that leaves St. Louis and goes and gets better because it's almost inconvenient that way.
You got to do the You got to do the.
Just saying, go get
Wow.
Nolan Gorman, get him in the hitting lab. He can hit 40 nukes. Coca-Cola corner shots. Come on.
There's your second baseman.
That's my DH. I don't fucking need to play in defense. It's my DH.
Left-handed.
Wow. Anyways. Now there was
Now get me
one
some
tweet.
pitching, real pitching.
I do want to point it out. There was one tweet
Oh boy.
that went out. What was it? Yesterday or the day before, where it was like some burner account. Now I can reference it. It was like apparently Anthony DeComo on a burner account. How accurate was that from the actual offer? I do want to know. Because I'm pretty sure he said 765 or 745.
According to the
Maybe?
great Andy Martino, that only happened today.
Yeah, so he didn't. Yeah.
It only happened today. Yeah. So it would be funny to know. I don't
God,
know.
Yankee fans are really crying about getting Correa. That's where they want to pivot. Is Correa. That is fucking hysterical.
Hey, it moves
That
fast
is
in New York.
that is
you never
fucking
know.
hysterical.
It
and
moves
that's the one
fast. It moves fast in New York. You never know. Wow. The Mets signed Juan
Here's
Soto,
a-
guys. That's insane.
Here's a good tweet from former pitcher Dallas Braden.
they want. Oh boy.
He said an article from Bleacher Report had the Yankees ranked the 29th fastest and the Mets at 15th. So that's part of Soto looking at the future.
We also have a lot more aura points too.
Shut the fuck up.
That's true.
Oh man.
The Mets finally finished the battle. This is great. This is great. All right. Who would you? We're gonna get into this a little bit more
Yeah.
for future podcast episodes. But if I were to pick somebody out of these four, I'll go to you guys first. Who would you pick? Who would be your number one pick if you're picking one more starting pitcher?
Are we talking contractually or just a pitcher? Or we
Just a
adding the
pitcher. Who would you prefer out of these four?
Frank, you want to go first?
Yeah, no, I think for what this current Mets team needs right now, it has to be Eovaldi. I just think with Buehler, I'm looking at another. I'm hoping I can reach the upside. With Flaherty, very inconsistent, and even Pivetta, like he's solid, but I think right now we're talking about like a number 2, number 3. I think this team needs someone who's going to make that at least 30 starts. You're going to get a really solid season, because with Montas, it's like, oh, we hope we could get him to bounce back, but like with Eovaldi, I just feel like they need a nice safe guy right in the middle of that rotation, and I think he would definitely provide that.
Andrew, you in agreement here?
Yeah, I mean, again, of those guys, we've made it clear about the video with Buehler. Stay away. I'm not touching. Let him go somewhere else. Pivetta, maybe if he didn't have especially if Pivetta has the QO attached, I'm not giving up a draft pick for Nick Pivetta. We know Jack Flaherty. I would rather light my leg on fire than watch Jack Flaherty pitch for the Mets. So
He was definitely about to say leg.
Yeah, totally. I'm
Yeah,
PG.
well, I'm glad he did, because
Keep it at PG. See, I'm being nice. It's Juan Soto. I know you got to make your money on Juan Soto. It's easy to make money. People are making money just on his name. But of those four, again, obviously the right answer is a trade target. But of those four, I'll take Eovaldi just because, again, postseason performer, which this team needs.
Yeah, I mean,
give me the guy that shows up.
Is you hope to sign Eovaldi as the 3 and then trade for the 2. I mean, that's kind of the way I hope that they could do it.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. We've always liked Nate Eovaldi. We know that he has the New York experience, something that it seems like David Stearns likes.
Yes.
In regards to that, we know that he grew up a Mets fan, and he's definitely taken that into account. Mets have signed a lot of former Yankees so far with David Stearns here. Obviously, that was a long time ago.
Coach is their manager.
Yeah, as a Yankee coach is their manager. A Yankees
Pitching coach
came over. Which is why I have a lot of faith in, Clay Holmes working out here. But that's a different story. We'll get into him, of course, in another episode as well. We'll break that down a little bit better. But one thing I will say, I do love Nick Pivetta. I've always loved Nick Pivetta. I think he's a great pitcher, and he does have a lot of upside in that regard. Great strikeout stuff, great swing and miss stuff, knows how to get chases, walks no one. Walks absolutely no one. Just has a little bit of a home run problem. And in Fenway Park, a lot of fly balls, especially at overall park factors for there. That is just a death sentence. But he is quite the strikeout pitcher. I would 100% take him. And he also, I mean, to be honest, from all pitch design or whatever you want to talk about, this is a Stearns pitcher from Formula One. Let's just say that the high arm angle, the nasty spin rates, the great the solid the solid contact management. I would definitely pursue Pivetta, but I don't see that happening. By the way, one thing the Mets did lose today, they did lose a draft pick for signing Juan Soto. They did give it to the Yankees. So who really is the winner? This one.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
It's a first round, right? It's a first round compensation pick, right? I think so.
Is it a fourth? No, I thought it was a fourth. No way we're giving a first round comp pick for this. No way.
Oh, now look who's upset now.
I'm not upset. I'm like, there's no way now. That's maybe actually. Who cares? They'll just draft the next Mike Trout. It doesn't matter.
I think that the Dodgers struck gold with the Ohtani. It's Ohtani. I mean, that's because the only player in baseball that can bring in $100 million in by himself. Yeah, listen, Ohtani is incredible. He's a generational talent. There's no denying that. Let's just say that. But, you never know. Could there be another gambling scandal? I don't know.
Jesus.
You never know. We will find the dirt. The internet is very, persistent. Let's just say that. Anyways, Juan Soto is a New York Met, by the way. For those of you who did not know, one more time, the Mets have landed the superstar outfielder who is no longer a free agent because he's a Met now. That's how that works. To a record-setting deal. 15 years. $765 million. Cannot believe that's even a real number. That could go up to $805 million after a fifth-year opt-out. The Mets take him from the New York Yankees at the buzzer, apparently. Wow. I'm at a loss for words at this point. Wow. Good signing, guys? Good signing? Yes or no? We'll see what happens. But I think we're going to end it off here. Plenty of more to come. Once again, like we said, the offseason is just getting started. Guys, your final words of the night, and then we can all just sleep soundly knowing that Juan Soto is going to the New York Mets. Hopefully, physical still pending. You never know. You never know. Hold your breath for a little bit. But I think we can exhale as much as we can right now. Andrew, I'll go to you. Wow. We did it. We freaking did it.
Okay, Kamala. But okay, I think let's end it. I'll quote. I misquoted somebody. But
We did it, Steve.
Let's end it on another quote by the great David Ortiz. Duh, Yankees lose.
Oh. To be honest, I would have went with this is our fucking city now.
Well,
all right.
Well, that's another good one. Another good one.
That's
all good ones. No, I mean, it's exciting that the Mets now have two guys who could finish as MVP finalists this season. So, I mean, that's something to be really excited about. And again, it just, you feel like when you have those two guys, you have a chance every year, and that's what we always ask for. We always want a sustained winning, and like I said, this is that big piece that really allows you to do that. More work to be done, but you feel that with the owner they have, the GM they have, it is very doable.
Unbelievable. I can't wait to see what is next. Again, we still have 3 more days of the winter meeting, so we could be going live in between those 3 days because the Mets still have moves to make. Again, offseason has just begun. We are not even at Christmas. We have not even passed the 2025 threshold of New Year's Day. I think that's how it works in America. But when it comes to when it comes to the Mets right now, still have work to be done. But the big one is out of the way, and it goes the Mets' way. It seems like for the first time ever. Historic day for the Mets franchise. A historic day for Juan Soto. A historic day for Scott Boras. Can't forget him. Who I believe is most likely going to get season tickets behind home plate at this point. And he's just going to be chilling. And he is now a friend of ours. He's definitely one of our friends. We've said nothing bad about him in the past whatsoever. But other than that, I don't even think I went to any of plugging anything for following anything because we just sprung in here for excitement. So I'll do that right now. For those of you in here, thank you guys so much for watching. For those of you who were in here the whole time, for those of you who snuck in a little bit, for those of you watching on playback, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Turn on post notifications to not miss when we go live throughout the entire offseason. We also have our podcast, which is regularly scheduled programming, which will be next week, starting it up again Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern time. For those of you who are a little bit sad that we do our show once a week, don't worry. We have tons of other content, tons of other videos. We are just getting started. This was the big domino to fall, of course. Make sure to follow Mets Weekly on X and on TikTok. Follow all of us individually. The links are in the description. More to come. Once again, Mets land Juan Soto to a record-setting deal. 15 years, $765 million, which could go up to $805 million. The Mets are crazy. Steve Cohen is crazy. But he's a big spender today. And he landed his guy. We will see you guys next time. Let's go, Mets. Once again, one more time, Juan Soto is a New York Met. We'll see you guys next time.